ค่ะ Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Orapin Hetakul, advisor of online media Daily News Online and Secretary General of the Society for Online News Provider Association of Thailand. I would like to welcome you to Sonpi's regional seminar with the topic of survival of online news provider in the changing world. This event has been arranged by the Society for Online News Provider Association of Thailand, or Sonpi in short, as the 6th event annually. This seminar will be the great opportunity to meet and exchange views related to working in mass communication work from knowledgeable representatives from different countries in performing business development to move forward steadily and sustainably. This will be an open stage for dozens of major news organizations from Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia, and Laos to share and discuss about problems and tips and how to do news related to business in this region. Today, there will be dialogues that to exchange on 3 main topics as follows. First, content strategy, development of content presentation and strategy from a new perspective to build the credibility and confidence of the public. The second, business model, how online media in Southeast Asia region redesign their business models to attract more readers and viewers while the global platforms are changing. And third, the monetization opportunities, new opportunities to earn money while each countries have different terms of developing news formats. And we would like to thank you, our co-sponsors by Thai Media Fund, Gulf Energy Development Public Company Limited, Bangkok Bank Public Company Limited, Sharon Pokapan Foods Public Company Limited, Thai Air Asia, SCG Foundation, and MBK Public Company Limited. On this occasion, I would like to invite Mr. Ravi Tawantarong, President of Society of Online News Provider of Thailand, to welcome you and give an opening speech.
Thank you, Kunpa, and good morning, everyone. Thank you, everyone, to join us our event today. This is a couple of years that we haven't had this event, the regional seminar about the media, and I think would be the best thing that we have to find a solution how media can sustainability to earn the money and taking care of our journalists in a company also. So I have a lot of speech to talking about that, but I think everyone in this room and everyone is watching on Thai BBS Live now, we know that what exactly happened to our industry, the media industry. So the media industry, as you know, that the media landscape is changed dramatically, and even in the recent year, the rise of social media and decline of traditional media outlets have had a profound impact to the way of consumer news and information. The consumer have changed the behavior, not just receive the information and news from our media outlet, but they receive their information and news from the social media and KOL, also the influencer. So this year, the event will handle the 3 topics. It's about the thing that how we can sustainability, how about the company. The first is content strategy. Why we have asking about talking to the content strategy. Content strategy is not the same as the past 10 years anymore. I think that every media company have looking for a new consumer It's not just a mass consumer. We just finding a niche and fragmented consumer and viewer. The second is the business model. In the COVID, 3 years ago, have been 3 years that we have to change the business model, not just send the information to everyone, to every kind of people. We arrange new business thing, just like event for the people, just like a subscription model to the people and viewer also. So that's why today we have the successful publication in Malaysia Kini, about the business model, which is they do and been doing about the subscription model that Thai not doing that yet. And another thing is rise of occasion of the social media. That's rising been 3 or 4 years about TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But you know that I already talked to the Myanmar media yesterday. The Myanmar said that everything is people finding information from the Facebook only, not about Google, not just like Thailand. And for the afternoon, we have the thing that I think the people come to today and looking for this topic about monetization, how we can find a new money from new area of landscape thing. I think this is the time for discussion and share. Everyone can share that, not just the people who talking about on the stage. You can share from every kind of media outlet and media thing. So 3 topics would be great for today, and I think everyone, and I'm about the people who coming today and the partner who coming from the Asian, Philippines, Indo, Laos, Malaysia, and everyone, and Cambodia also. We have a lot of things today, and the people who coming to listening and driving and sharing everything, everyone will have a great thing to develop the media industry and the media, your company also. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you to the Thai Media Fund who raised the event with us, and also Bangkok Bank, MBK, Pathumwan Princess, which is we have here, and SCG Foundation, Thai Air Asia, CPF, and Gulf Energy. So make it happen, and we will change the Asian media world after today. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi, President of SONP. Now I would like to invite the very important person, Mr. Chavarong Limpatamapani, SONP's founding president, for a keynote speech on the topic, Development of Online Media in Southeast Asia.
Okay, let me use some slides to, can we turn on the slide? While we are waiting for the slide, I would like to welcome all of the participants and speakers, especially our speakers from the region. All of you have traveled. I think some of you has the first international travel after COVID. Yeah, so we haven't had this kind of on-site seminar for a couple of years. So I think this is a good sign that we are coming back to our what we call normal life, but it will be a new normal. And I think in the last 3 years, we have organized this kind of event, but online. We've been talking about the impact of the COVID-19 to our business and how we survive, which is some of you here have participated online. But I'm glad that you can come in person this time. So this is a good opportunity for all of us to share our experience, share our knowledge, our thought together. The SONP, the Society for Online News Provider Thailand, has started to organize this kind of event in 2011, and this is the sixth seminar that we already organized. But for I think we will have the slide or not. If not, I will go on without the slide. Okay. Because I have only 10 minutes, so I just to do it briefly that if you're talking about the development of the news online or new website in Southeast Asia, we have to go back in the beginning when we start to have a news website, which is a little bit before 2000, the year 2000. I think every country start to have the new website. So by that time, our new website is just an alternative sort of media. You have okay. See, because the beginning is 1997 until 2007. News website as an alternative sort of media. We don't think about income. We don't think about any tool or anything. So we just put the content online for people to get access in. And some do as a branding. Because your audience is moving from mainstream media to online media, so you just need to have your brand, on every platform that the news has been distributed, and we also use for new distribution to people abroad. I still remember by the time I'm studying in the U.S., which is before we have the website, I have a struggle to get the news from Thailand. I have to wait for a newspaper for 3 days. I have to dial up to a taping news from Thailand, which is $1 a minute, to get the news. It's very. So then, when we have the website, we serve the people who live abroad. And most news that presents on the news website in the beginning is from mainstream media, and most of the news media, new website in the beginning, are supplementary of the mainstream media, except one country, which is start with the new website alone, without any mainstream media that before. That's one I want to mention, which is Indonesia. Indonesia have the website called detik.com, has begun in the very first era, and then followed by Malaysia Guinea in Malaysia. Is follows, then in 2008 to 2013, you see that the news, consume news through social media. So we heavily rely on social media. And then, okay, monetization is essential for all online media company now. So that's why we're here and we'll talk about this topic today. I just want to take you back to what Sunpi have been doing in the past 12 years on with the regional media. Sunpi's seminar on online media in Southeast Asia started in 2011 that I mentioned before. By the time we used the topic of technology and trend of new media content development. You see that we started talking about news content, media content development in 2011. And then in 2013, we started to talk about the development in online news in Southeast Asia. And then in 2015, we start to talking about the impact of social media to the new websites. And then 2018, there was a rise of fake news and how to handle them. That one, Kun Thepachai here, by the time Kun Thepachai is the president of the Confederation of ASEAN Journalists, we partnership with the Confederation of ASEAN Journalists, where by the time we have many participants. We even have participants from India, China, outside of Southeast Asia. And then again in 2020, we facing the COVID-19, and we have the first online seminar with the impact of COVID-19 to online news provider. And then today, we get together and we're talking about the survival of online news provider in the changing world. So this is a very challenging topic that we'll discuss today. So I just briefly give you a broader view of how the online news media in Southeast Asia has been developed. We have a different in different countries in Southeast Asia. We have different environment, and we have a different media landscape. That took us to do the online. But I think we will share our experience and what we have been doing the whole day of today. So thank you very much. I will look forward to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chawarong. And I would like to use this occasion to invite Sunpi executives and all of the speakers and all of the co-sponsors for a photo session. The first set will be Sunpi executive with the speakers. ค่ะก็เซตแรกนะคะเป็นผู้บริหาร Sunpi นะคะกับ with all of the speakers. Yes. Please welcome all of our honored speakers. Yes. ค่ะตอนนี้เป็นภาพหมู่นะคะเรียนเชิญพี่ๆช่างภาพนิ่งนะคะ The speakers, please in front, because right now I would like to invite our co-sponsor กล้อง Thai Media Fund นะคะเรียนเชิญนะคะตัวแทนจากได้เลยค่ะ เชิญเลยค่ะผู้บริหารจาก SCG Foundation ค่ะคุณสุวิมลจีวรักษ์ค่ะกรรมการและผู้จัดการมูลนิธิ SCG ค่ะค่ะลำดับถัดไปนะคะโคสปอนเซอร์ของเรานะคะบริษัทผู้บริหารจาก MBK Hall เป็น MBK Public Company Limited ค่ะเรียนเชิญคุณสัตมนต์วรกุลผู้อำนวยการฝ่ายสื่อสารองค์กรบริษัท MBK จำกัดมหาชนและคุณกฤษกรชาครีรัตน์นะคะผู้อำนวยการอาวุโสฝ่ายขายและการตลาดบริษัท MBK Hotel and Tourism จำกัดค่ะหมดแล้วค่ะค่ะ Thank you for the photo session. Yes, and all of the speaker. Thank you very much. Yes. Now I would like to introduce and invite the moderator for today's morning session. Please welcome Kun Natha Gomonwatin, Director of Thai BBS World Thailand.
Swadika and good morning, distinguished guests and speakers. Thank you for coming all the way to Thailand, especially for some of you who travel abroad for the first time after COVID-19. And I'm very honored today to be moderator of the very important sessions of the discussion of the future survival of journalism, especially in the media, in the changing world. We use the word survival, which is very crucial because it's the tough world out there for all the media companies, media organizations in the disruption, especially nowadays when everyone has been told that everyone can be journalist. It means that the world of competition is very tough, and the platform which is up and coming like TikTok is on the rise, and Facebook, even the survival of Facebook, even more tough. And from my own experience, I could see how social media platform has been blossoming, especially in 2008 when President Obama won president. During his campaign, he used Twitter. I think it was the very first time that people know about social media and its impact. And thanks for Kun Chawarong to show us timeline how social media was born and on the rise since then. No, it's quite unstoppable until now, and it's the time that we discuss what's the survival or what's the strategy of mainstream media, in which online media has become more and more mainstream nowadays. So how to coexist, and especially Kun Ravi also mentioned with me before we have started that nowadays content is king, but business model is queen. So how king and queen can go together and make the media company and the whole society thrive and get used to this. I think it's a big question. So today we will hear different models and different content strategy from different media organizations in Southeast Asia, from 6 countries, from Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, and Indonesia. So let me firstly introduce our speaker for the very first session. The first speaker is Mr. Min Thortut, Executive Director of 11 Media Group of Myanmar. 11 Media Group was founded in 2000 Reporters Without Borders awarded the Media of the Year in 2011 for its long-standing against the military government, and currently it employs 250 staff with combined circulation of 450,000 copies in 2012. The second speaker, Ms. Thong Sowan Rengsi, General Director of Got Sampiep Media, Cambodia, and currently she is Secretary General of Cambodia Club of Journalism in Cambodia. And our third speaker, News Editor of Vientiane Times, Laos, Mr. Somsak Pong Khao. He's editor of Vientiane Times News Department, and he frequently interviews senior government officials, foreign diplomats, and visiting foreign leaders, including former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry when he visited Laos. So let me start with the three of you with short presentation, and then we will have Q&A session. So let me start with Mr. Min Thortut, please.
Hello. Thank you everyone for inviting me here. I'm very glad to be in Thailand today. And thank you Kun Chevron for inviting me for a second time. First time I was here in 2020, and now I am here again. So I'm very glad to be here. And please move the slide. Click. Oh, click. Okay. Green one. Okay. Let me begin with my story. So I am the Executive Director of 11 Media, and 11 Media the RSF office a few years ago, and my father, who's the founder, Dr. Danto Ang, is the World Association of News Publishers winner for us, Golden Pen for Freedom Award winners in 2013. So we are very happy about that, and we have played a major role in the past 23 years, shaping public opinion and shaping public policy, in informing the Myanmar public. And so I wanted to read a quote that perfectly describes the principles of 11 Media. And so it was in Dr. Tan's acceptance speech for WNEFRA. He said, "In my younger days, training as a medical doctor, I was taught never to take anything for granted. I really identified with this, and as a journalist, I kept the same principles. I have my sincerity, and this is my secret, and this is the major part I want to do. We never take anything for granted from the public, for the country, and from the business. We operate independently, and we never take anything for granted for the current situation." And so I wanted to describe about the current situation of news publishers in Myanmar. And this is, so we experienced COVID-19 in 2020, which was, to be honest, it was quite okay. Quite okay, as in like there was a shift from the physical newspaper to the online. So advertising was okay back then. So but it climbed by almost 50%. Our revenue declined by 50% in that year, but it was still okay. And in 2021, there was a military takeover in Myanmar, as all of you are aware of, and during 2021, our revenue declined to 0, and so we had to take over the shock of that. We had to liquidate a lot of our assets as well. So we had to do that. And in addition to the military takeover, there was an emergency period. A lot of townships in Myanmar went into martial law, so it was not safe to get news there. And there was also an economic crisis. Economic crisis meaning there was the GDP decline by 18% in the 2021, but getting a little bit better, but not that much better. And there was rampant inflation. So, for example, during 2021, one baht was 40 jats. Now, that is one baht is 80 jats. So double. So the jet declined in value by half. And so due to that, let me tell you a story. So we usually import materials directly from the country. For example, recently we had to fix our printing press after many years. Usually we can get it delivered straight to the airport. But now, because of the import restrictions, because of the currency depreciation, I had to wait 6 months. 6 months, I had to go from India, then to the Bangkok airport. And from the Bangkok airport, it had to go through Mae Sai, which is the border city of Thailand and Myanmar, and then it had to go to Yangon, costing me twice as much in 6 months. Usually, I can get it in like a week. So no more express delivery. And the other issue is that we have a lot of internet restrictions. For example, a lot of websites are banned, such as Facebook. Facebook is banned, and so we have a lot of Myanmar people use VPN to access these banned websites, like similar to China. And other issues that we deal with is disinformation, as similar to other countries, and the collapse of advertising. I talked about this earlier, but advertising basically collapsed, slowly recovering, but far from the levels that we had before. So our situation is very different from what's happening in the world and what's happening in Southeast Asia as well. And the issue that I wanted to highlight in this seminar is that because of all these happening, because of the military takeover, because of COVID, there is now a scarcity of independent news media in Myanmar, reporting on Myanmar. So this is whether these media are locally or in exile. There is a scarcity of independent media. There are only 2 independent media in Myanmar, only 2 private independent newspapers in Myanmar. During the COVID-19, there were like 7 newspapers. Before COVID-19, there were 7 newspapers. During the height of the newspapers, when the newspapers were given a license in 2013, there were around 13 newspapers. So there's a scarcity of independent newspapers, so which I wanted to point out. And a majority of these news organizations today in Myanmar or reporting on Myanmar cannot disclose their source of income. Based on the research done by us, over 90% receive funding from unspecified sponsors to promote propaganda and agenda-based news, which is a sad reality of the Myanmar media landscape today. So the main question that I was asked in the pre-seminar is that, how do you get your credibility? How do you stay relevant to the current situation? So I want to say that we get our credibility through our independence. We are entirely financially independent, despite the difficulties. Our income source is solely from subscriptions and advertising throughout our 23 years. Because this helped us stick through our principles of independence and reliable reporting. This helps us stay as an independent and professional media. But similar to other people, we face challenges. We face challenges of adhering to self-censorship and numerous regulations, violence, and different pressures. A lot of Myanmar's towns and townships are under martial law, so there's so many pressures that we have to deal with. And currently, there's an emergency period happening in the country, but at the same time, 11 Media we're used to this. We're used to this. During the period, our first period from 2000 to 2012, there was a censorship board. So everything had to run through the censorship board from 2000 to 2012. And from the period between 2012 to present, where we had two, like a quasi-civilian government and a quasi-civilian government, we also had to deal with self-censorship. In fact, in the first quasi-civilian government, 17 of our news editors and executive were sued by the government. And then in 2016, my father was arrested for 3 months by the NLD, the ousted, recently ousted government. And in 2018, my chief editor, my deputy chief editor, my chief reporter, they were also detained. So we have been used to varying degrees of censorship. Now it's a very serious form of self-censorship, but we have to abide by the regulations because we have to survive. So to be successful in the current moment is to survive in Myanmar. And so we also get the second point I want to make is we get our credibility through combating disinformation and propaganda. As I mentioned before, there's almost no independent news media in Myanmar. And because of this, it is our responsibility to combat disinformation and propaganda. And this is the prevalence of fake news and disinformation, similar to other countries, is because of the dominance of social media and scarcity of independent news media. So I wanted to read out another principle that my father espouses in his speech as well. So I took some of it. So this basically describes our principles throughout our 23 years. I tell my reporters, if you are denied your rights to be able to do the correct thing, you should not resort to doing the wrong thing. This is the effect that censorship has on us. In other words, I can't write the real story. I will refuse to write it falsely. I will always show the readers the real version of events, even using symbolisms and metaphors if necessary, to bring the real news to the public. So this is our principle. So we will, even if we are not able to reveal all the true news because of censorship, we will always, or self-censorship, we will never report the false news. But despite this, we still have challenges. I sympathize with all my media colleagues. They are facing a lot of troubles, a lot of difficulties. And so we have the challenge of doing extensive on-ground nationwide reporting because of the emergency period happening in Myanmar right now. So, in conclusion, throughout our 23-year history, we maintain the trust of our readers by never reporting false or agenda-based news. 11 Media is a trusted legacy news media because our news focus on the needs of our common citizens and national interest, despite our political difficulties. Our main goal looking forward is to survive financially and standing firm on our principles of independence during our most difficult period. at this present moment, to be successful is to survive. And to survive is to be successful. We cannot think of our future. We cannot think of our future possibilities. We are going through a difficult period. Most people, a lot of people in Myanmar are facing difficulties at the moment as well. Journalists in Myanmar are facing difficulties at the moment. I sympathize with them. So for the moment, in terms of 11 Media, I am content because we are surviving. And we can fight for another day in the pursuit of truth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minto, to share with us the current situation that the media is facing in Myanmar, especially the media organization which try to maintain independence. I'm just wondering, how do you have to shift your content, because you have to keep reporting on the daily basis, and you said you cannot report the false information. So how do you adjust that to survive at this very juncture?
As I mentioned before, we have to adhere to a very strict level of self-censorship so that we can continue our operations. So what I'm saying to you right now is also under self-censorship. So I cannot reveal everything. But at the same time, as I mentioned before, we always mention what the pressing needs of our citizens. If something is happening, we will report it. But at the same time, we have to abide by the regulations. For example, I'm just giving this as an example. For example, we cannot say this is a military coup, like everyone in the international media is saying. So in the presentation, I said military takeover. So I have to, but we always mention the pressing news of our citizens. And I want to tell you a story of when I was 6 years old. When my brother was only a few months old, so so military intelligence officers also arrested my dad too, and so he was detained, and but thankfully got released. And when I was in my attending college, second year, the government of Aung San Suu Kyi's government and the government, they also detained my father as well. I mentioned that before. And then there was, because he was reporting on corruption against the then Yangon minister, chief minister, so Pyongyang Deng. So, and then he was back then he was accused of corruption. Now he is giving information to the current military government in the case against Aung San Suu Kyi currently. So I am not as brave as him. So I have to engage in a strong level of self-censorship. So I'm the one person running. So I think currently it's the best strategy, because my main goal is to survive, as I mentioned previously.
And the main source of income right now, where is it? Main source of income?
Unfortunately, in 2020, we have been building our news website, our Facebook, for over 15 years. But during COVID, our transition to online advertising was quite strong. But after the military takeover, advertising collapsed. So we cannot rely on online advertising at the moment. It's slowly coming back up, but the news coming out of Myanmar is not very positive. So advertisers don't really want to use the news. So mainly like entertainment and sports is where the advertising is coming in. But we still have our newspapers, our magazines. So and the circulations and subscriptions are still coming in, but we're really struggling.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mintotut, for this round. I'm sure there will be lots of questions to you later during our Q&A session. Thank you for now. So now let me move on to our second speaker, Ms. Thong Sowan Rengsi, General Director of Got San Phiep, Cambodia. Yes, you can share with us and introduce your media company to us and what's the content strategy currently.
Thank you, Natas. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thong Sawan Rangsi, and I'm from Got San Phiep Media. Let me start with what is Got San Phiep Media in Thai. In Thai mean it's not here. Well, thank you. Sorry. So Got San Phiep mean the island of peace, and very similar meaning to Cambodia. So we started a newspaper in 1968, and that was when my dad started it. And during the Pol Pot regime in 1973 to 1978, so there's no more newspaper. And once the government is established and giving the right to the private company, that's when we started again in 1993. So this is what we look like back before the Pol Pot regime. The newspaper. We developed from newspaper, and then like Kun Chavrong mentioned, we developed into the website. After the website, it's starting the digital challenge. So we created a TV online as we have more show. We are more like similar to TV, but in terms of online. So we created many shows just to test it and see what is the reaction of the audience and our viewer. What we have learned along the way from medias, I have also developed into a business empire. So we have investment company, we have a restaurant, and I will share with you later how I got to become a restaurant owner. So as many of us mentioned that we have challenge in terms of revenue stream from newspaper and all the way to website and private app. We also doing the production. So we become like production agency. We making a TVC for other company. Just that's one of our revenue source. So, and then we focus on entertainment. One of this hardest page of us is food. It's like a foodie. So we are the first one who starting this content. It's a video. I hope I can play. From there until now, it's been more than 10 years, and we're still the leading food app in Cambodia. And we have our own application. And we have, as Facebook is dominating in Cambodia as well, so we are the leading content provider on social media as Facebook. Actually, I can play this one just to let you have an idea. We have over 6 million of followers and like. This is organic. We don't do any boost paid on our page just to get the like, because we want to get our reader with the organic source, so we know who is who. So beside this, we also have another page. It's called 60 Bus. 60 Bus is the original idea is because people are not keen to more reading the text anymore. So we thought it would be, it's more attractive to the reader and the audience to just listen and watch. So we read the content, but it's in 60-second time. So that's why we call it 60 bus. And while they're reading the content, you can also see the video and the photo of the actual content itself. So it was very famous in Cambodia as well. And beside this content, we have created as the trend go on. So we extend from 60 seconds to a bit longer. Yes. So this is the full content that I was talking about. So we started this more than 10 years ago by snapping on the content on the street food and the restaurant. It's like somehow it's like a food critics and a food review, and people really like it because it's like where they can find the source of food, where they want to go, what's their plan for the day. So this is what it's the best taste. And as I mentioned earlier, how I got to become the restaurant owner, because from the experience of this content as well. After we doing for a few years, we learn the behavior of the reader and what we get from the content. My whole team is getting experience of what's the audience like, what kind of food do they really want to go most, and the price, the ambient of the restaurant. And we got all this idea, and we thought, what can we leverage from this experience? Because my background is not really a journalist, so I get to experience my journalism field, but relating to how we can generate and transform ourselves, just a bit diversified from the newspaper only. So we started a restaurant, and it was really successful. We started during the COVID time, and as what we would imagine, because we planned it long before the COVID, but it just finished after the COVID, and we don't know what to do, so we opened. Luckily, because the restaurant was designed outdoor, it's like open space, so it was really a good catch, because people don't want to sit indoor and share the same air. So that's how they and it's really become a trend nowadays in Cambodia that you can sit outdoor and enjoy all this natural space and air. So we pick up from there. 6 months later, we open another one, and yes, we continue to expand. Not just a same branch, but we open various of restaurant because we learn. We know right away what is catching the attention of our audience, and what is the weakness, and what is a strong point. So we just focus on that point, and I'm very glad how we can leverage our experience and put it into the business, and in a way I think it's helping the society to get what is on demand. So that's the story. And from 60 Bus, we also creating another news platform. It's called Firebus. It's more like current updated news. So it's like hot news. So beside that one, we're quite diversified. We create another program. It's like house development, or the unique design of the house or the place itself. And then we have another one is called Top Person. So we aim to create the content based on the outstanding people, like let's say the outstanding president, the outstanding leadership, the outstanding person. So that's why we name it Top Person. So we have a team. We have a team over 100, and the number is still remain. However, because we have during the challenge before COVID and until now, we have we have been asking our staff to be freelance because we know that being with us alone is not going to be enough for them, or people need to move on. So even if they move on, they can still collaborate with us in somehow. I think the collaboration is also a win-win. So if they stay longer with us, I think it's not so good either because they need to develop and move on. So we have, this number is also including the reporter from all over the province in Cambodia. So that's our restaurant. That's our restaurant. And we have more. Thank you. Thank you.
It's very fascinating to see how you transform from media company to be food and service, food and investment company as well, and it must be very much thriving. I'm also interested in terms of content for Got Santiap media at the moment because it's election time. What's the space of journalists or news team of Got Santiap have to manage with the control of the government? And because right now it's campaign period, can you share with us how do you manage to report what the journalists see on the field, given that the supervision of the government probably quite strong in Cambodia?
What I can share is that, as we all might know, we're in the media. The government is how we say is quite strong in this situation now. However, as a media, we must cover all part of the situation in Cambodia, not just the election. So beside the election, we have other things that need to be concerned, like the current situation and the future that the citizen must be aware. As far as how far can we report on the election, I think there's no limit. Hearing Mr. Mintao is quite impressed because his country is very struggling, and yet he's very determined to survive. But I think we are more lucky because we don't have any situation like that. Only we focus on strengthen our contents, and we just cater to what the reader wants. That's how we stand, I believe.
So mostly strategy of Got Santiap media is to focus on business side, human interest, mostly.
Actually, we've been a mass media, and I can say we still being a mass media because our vision is we call it everywhere and with everyone. So with that vision, that means we must go everywhere and deliver everything. So that's why we're able to diversify into many programs, not just political and economy alone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Renzi, for your view regarding Got Santiap media, how journalists work and how the media company work in Cambodia. So let me move to our next speaker, Mr. Somsak Pongkhao, news editor of Vientiane Times from Lao PDR. So please share with us the background information of the media company you are working with and the content strategy.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Sophie for inviting me to this very important seminar. My name is Somsak Pongkhao. I'm a news editor from Vientiane Times newspaper. It is the first English newspaper in Lao PDR, launched in 1994. It is the same year when Laos and Thailand opened the first friendship bridge. And we cover a wide range of topics ranging from politics to economics and social culture. And basically, thank you very much. Basically, our newspaper, we start with the newspaper, but nowadays we diversify to have more online product because of the changes in media landscape. We try to provide more content to reach a wider group of people. And our income also, I would like to talk a little bit about income from newspaper. Basically, it's shrinking, but we still earn the main income still from newspaper, and we earn from other online platform as well, but still not. I would say still not enough to cover operations and other and the money lost from newspaper. Let me go on to what I planned here. Actually, I planned several slides, but I won't speak them all since we have only 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. But I will. How can I? Oh, okay. And if you have more questions, you can ask during the panel discussion. But let me brief a little bit about general pictures of media landscape in Lao PDR. I think changes in media landscape is global trends. It's not happen only in Lao PDR, but also in other Southeast Asian countries. When many more people move to consume news online, and news is far more immediate and inclusive, including the voice of the public. And basically, COVID-19 marked the turning points for Lao media to make adjustment to survive. It means I would say that several newspapers stopped printing during the pandemic, and they moved to online, offer more online. Even radio, they still offer like YouTube and Facebook, and in order to generate some income from other online platform. Okay. I would like to give some statistic about the overall pictures of media landscapes in Laos. Lao population is about 7.5 million people, but 85% of the population are now mobile phone user. 62% have access to internet, and roughly around 50% is utilize social media. And I would like to say that basically digitalization has resulted in more people consuming online news, and you will see more products introduced by even mainstream media, including Vientiane Tham. Basically, even via newspaper, but we also introduce like e-newspaper. The subscriber from newspaper declining, but they move to subscribe e-newspaper. We still generate some income, and advertorial. Now, advertorial, people move from, instead of advertise at the physically newspaper, but they move to advertise on advertorial. They pay for the newspaper to write the stories and then publish on newspaper and also online. because if you publish in newspaper and we give them free in online like Facebook and the website, and basically our platform is still relevant in terms of because our audience is basically 50% is business people and 20% is government official, and 15% is international organizations and NGO, and so the group of people, they still contribute some story, and they also helping Vientiane Time in terms of like the let's say Lao government want to promote tourism and visit Laos years, and we receive some funds from that to promote the program, and even some international organizations, they also contribute in terms of they sometimes they don't contribute in money, but they contribute in other things, to help us to survive. Of course, we have to maintain the qualities of the contents, writing story that relevant to the target group, and also impact basically high quality content is still high demands in Lao PDR. Many newspapers try, even my newspaper, try to maintain the qualities so that we can continue to receive advertisements from company and other international organizations. Let me talk about social media. In Laopedia, social media, 80% is Facebook. With more company moving to advertise on Facebook, because 80% of the population, not the population, although using social media is Facebook. So, because another thing is cheap to advertise on Facebook, and also allow people not just to consume news from Facebook, but they also buy things like they want to buy something they choose on Facebook. It's unlike it's different from though in Europe or other country where they use Google search or other platform to look for information. But in my country, Facebook is still popular, and they use other social media platform as well, but not many. Percentage is still low compared to Facebook. But TikTok is coming more popular, but among young people, but still not the figure is still not high. Basically, this one I would like to talk about the mainstream media, how mainstream media competes with the content creator. Because basically mainstream media like Vientiane Time, we still, it's a source of information for policymaker, for researcher. Even Facebook is, most people move to Facebook. But at the end of the day, for those who want to use the information for, reference or for research, for, even government official, they still read the newspaper. Even the newspaper, they still read it because, older people still, they want to see, to read newspaper when they drink coffees in the mornings and also use as evidence, let's say, when they launch official, events, they want to publish in the newspaper so that they can keep it as memory. Yeah. is still, newspaper still importance to some extent. Let me talk a little bit about content strategy. As I mentioned, that content is one of the most important things for media in order to maintain relevance to target audience, because even Facebook or other social media, lost tons of information upload this, but because sometimes disinformation or misinformation was also there. So those who very curious to understand what's happening exactly, they might at the end of the day they have to look at the newspaper or not newspaper, mainstream media. I say mainstream media in order to know whether is what happening. I would like to talk about some of the main challenges I highlighted here. Even though more people moving to consume news through social media, but media outlets in Laos is still challenged to make adjustment to adapt to changes. I mean, they stopped printing newspaper. Zero newspaper stopped during the COVID-19 pandemic, but they still cannot, generate income in order to cover the losses, to cover the cost of operation. And another thing, important thing to note is that Laos has yet to register with Google and Facebook. It's basically we still don't earn money from people share the posts or how many posts you share and you earn some money. Basically, media company, they just want many posts, many share, many like, in order to attract company to advertise. But we still don't earn money from how many people post, how many people share from the Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, that's one of the challenges. And another challenge would be like, mainstream media. How can we compete with content creator? Is also very challenging. Some company they have more clients, more audience than the mainstream media. It's very, very hard for mainstream media to compete with them. What we try to do at Vientiane Time is to diversify our product. We not just rely on one particular product, like newspaper. We try to, to get some, be partner with business people, whatever we can do, producing a book, or we can do other thing like translations or what other thing. I was mentioned Lao Tien Tam, they're quite successful in terms of diversify the product. They have translation company, events, organizing events. They have producing magazine for the airline. They have several product, in not just rely on particular platform. So they can, earn some money to cover their operation. Basically, yeah, I already mentioned the e-newspaper, the editorial. So, okay. One thing, we still get some contribution from company in order to, let's say they want to promote something. Company, they want the media to write more about Lao culture, let's say. They said, we help you a little bit and you write more story about Lao culture. Some hotel, they said, oh, you'll write more about tourism, because when tourists come, they could come to my hotel as well. It's not promote the hotel, but promotes Lao tourism, and in order to attract more tourists. This is some kind of not direct benefits from the company, but indirect, Actually, the product of Vientiane Time I have mentioned a little bit, but if you have questions, I can explain further during our panel discussions, and I will stop here. Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you very much, Mr. Somsak, to sharing with us the content strategy of Vientiane Times. I could see how you have to diversify a lot of your content product to online media. And do you see that you have to trade off between quality of the content in order to have wider access to probably online audience? So how do you shift between quality of the editorial department and then to various online platforms?
Thank you very much for your question. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, qualities of the content is still high demands in Lao PDR. Some newspaper, they produce some news, online platform. They move totally to online, but what they focus about is they don't have in-depth story. That's why they lose customer also. Vientiane Time, we try to maintain the qualities of the contents and make it relevant to the reader. For instance, we serve as a forum for international organizations, researchers to contribute opinion piece. Opinion piece is very, still high demand for the public. So we try we try to encourage more people to contribute article to the Vientiane Time, and also we also write some in when something happen. We have some views, but of course still not many story, since producing quality is related to income, related to incentive income, I would say. But we still have, but less. But that's why we try to encourage contribution from researcher institutions and international organizations to give some.
And currently, what's the main source of income? Is it from sponsor advertisement or from subscription?
Our main income is from newspaper. From newspaper, we still get more income from newspaper, but we get some from online platform, but not much. From newspaper, basically, something like 60-70% from newspaper. What we try to do is that why we still get some more money from newspaper, because if you advertise in newspaper, sometimes we give free on online. If you pay for advertorials in newspaper, we give free from it. Marketing we sell in the packet. Sometimes online and newspaper together. It's hard to say maybe exactly from newspaper. Sometimes we sell as a packet.
Thank you, Kun Somsak. So we have heard from 3 media outlets in Myanmar, in Cambodia, and Laos, how they have shifted what's the strategy in terms of content to still maintain income and to attract quality audience to the media outlet. Especially what we heard from Myanmar, survival is the key. It means success right now. I'd like to get back to Myanmar a little bit. You said you also faced close scrutiny during NLD government as well, not only during military government. So it doesn't necessarily mean to have elected government can really liberate or support full media freedom in Myanmar. So can you tell us more about the situation?
In 2010 to 2015, there was a civilian government, but they were not elected. They were former military generals who were running. The president was U Thein Sein government, and that was, even though we had 17 of our staff who were sued. They were facing trial, but even then there was also self-censorship. But the media was free and it was booming. There were 13, as I mentioned before, there were 13 newspapers. And in 2015, 2016 election, we were expecting more changes to arrive for the media. We were hoping the media would become more liberal, more free, but unfortunately, even though there was an elected government, that was not the case. And total, including my father, there were total 5 of our journalists were detained at that time, and they were granted bail, but they were detained and granted bail, but they were charged for the longest time. Our media organization continued to be charged, and then so it was because of these charges, we had to engage in a lot of self-censorship at that time as well.
Thank you. So I think the 3 countries are also one of the examples of what we are facing in the region in terms of limitation of media freedom, but how you have to try to work on it, to work on the daily basis under strong supervision by the government. And many countries are also facing the same situation as well. So right now I'd like to open up the floor for audience to ask direct question to our speaker for this session. Because we start late, I suppose we can extend our discussion of this round until 10:50, probably. Okay, so we have 10 more minutes for Q&A session. So feel free to ask question to the speaker or experience that you like to share with them.
Does it work? Yeah, it's working. I'm Thep Chayong from Thai PBS. I have one question for our friend from Myanmar and one for our friend from Laos, Kun Somsak. This is the first time in 2 years that we hear a journalist in Myanmar talking freely about the media situation in Myanmar. And I hope that what you say today will not get you in trouble when you go back home. So first of all, we really admire the courage that you and your colleagues at 11 Media have been displaying throughout all this year, despite our difficulties that you face. And it's quite obvious that the military junta in Naypyidaw will be in power for a long haul. I think that's the intention. So what is your long-term plan? I mean, to survive in that scenario that the military will be in power for a long time. And I'm sure that the pressure on the media will still be around. So what is your long-term plan? And then a question for Kun Somsak. You mentioned in the slide that there is a strong need for more in-depth and investigative news reporting, right? So given the limitations that we know that you have in your country, so what particular areas that you think that you can do more in-depth and investigative reporting? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I've tried very hard to, as I mentioned before, I've tried to use a lot of self-censorship when answering questions and when doing my presentation. As I mentioned before, our main goal is now to survive. We survived for 2-3 years if you count COVID. and to do so independently and professionally. So, and for it's very difficult to see what will happen in the future. We are just taking it day by day. So I cannot say what my plans are for the future, but I just want to say that I will guarantee we will try to hold on as much as possible. So we will try to find other sources of revenue, whether that's in the media, whether it's other business, so to support this media business. And because hopefully, as I mentioned, the economy will get better, hopefully. And I believe there will be, in my opinion, as you mentioned, that I believe there will be elections that will happen. So the emergency period will end. And the principles of our media group, I do not value confrontational, violent-fueled politics. I value the politics of negotiation, similar to Thailand, because currently you just finished your election. And if you first finish your election, currently is the time to form a government. But at the same time, compared to Myanmar, it is happening in a very civil manner. Civil as in it's not violent fuel, it's not armed fuel. So I hope that that kind of politics can prosper in Myanmar in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interesting questions. And I think, in my opinion, that area that we should focus on in terms of developing the qualities of the contents, I think it would be linked to our target audience. For instance, business people is now represent like 50% of our audience, and also international organizations and students and government officials. So I think the area could be relevant. It could be like something like connectivities or because business people they might interested in the like policy change or law or anything that relevant to how they can invest in the countries or anything that relevant to them, that we try to update, like inflations or anything. At the moment, there are quite several topics that interesting in Laos, that maybe some topic that have regional value, that because Laos is not becoming more integrated and connected with region, and so I think that these kind of topics is relevant to our audience and our target. Thank you very much.
So please feel free if anyone have more questions or having more experience to share. Kun Somsak, I'd like to pursue more a little bit, because in your presentation you said all media are being reinvented to maintain relevance. So can you share with us, probably not only about Vientiane Times, but overall how all media in Laos are being reinvested to maintain audience?
Thank you very much for your question. Actually, the media in Laos, because of, as I mentioned, that they stopped printing newspaper, they moved to online. They try to diversify their product, but their challenge would be some newspaper they lost focus on their area. For instance, the economic daily, they're supposed to focus more on economics or writing more in-depth story economic, but sometimes they focus on other things as well when something happens, you know. This could be challenges. They fail to, you know, attract audience. But I see some example like Lao Patana newspaper, let's say, online. They're quite successful. They got a lot of audience and they generate some income from that, because most of their story is focused on social issue, like the problem, whatever problem, concerns of public, and they still remain relevant to the audience. Thank you.
Ms. Brangsi, what about the current situation in Cambodia? Because in Thailand, young people move away from Facebook. Right now, TikTok has become probably the priority for young people. Can you tell us more about situation in Cambodia? What's the popularity of online platform, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, especially right now it's election campaign. I'm just wondering how TikTok has been influential in Cambodia.
Thank you. Yes, we used to be dominating by Facebook, but currently the young people is like 10 years above or 25 and below, they moving towards TikTok. But as for us as a content producer, we don't really make money from TikTok. So we're still focusing on Facebook. However, if we want to gain our popularity and credibility, so we also present in TikTok as well. And also during this election campaign, not many are focusing on TikTok, but they still maintain a lot of activity on Facebook. So I think that's a target age for the citizen.
What about Myanmar? Do you have space in using TikTok in Myanmar at all? Yes, TikTok.
I just recently started my TikTok channel, and not mine, but like the news channel. Yeah, so it's what I noticed before. I started one in 2020 and 2021, but I think it was okay for other platforms, but it was against TikTok's community standards, so I couldn't post anymore. So we just stopped it, and now we restarted. Now it's fine. And now we know how to use it now. But the thing about TikTok that I like at the moment is the organic reach is very organic reach is uncompared to anything else. If you go start a Facebook channel, if you go start an Instagram channel, it's not going to get that many views. Our videos are reaching getting like millions of views per post, so it's very good for awareness and like brand awareness, I guess. Thank you.
Because in Thailand, in this election, people all over the country must be aware of the power of TikTok and the voice of new generation in their politics, which means the implication of economic concern in the near future as well. So I'd like three of you to share with us the voice of new generation in your country, and how do you see the impact in terms of economy, politics, and online platform? Probably from Myanmar first. Yep. Voice of new gen. Young generation.
What platforms they're using, or what do you mean?
Yes. Voice of their concern in politics and platform that they are using.
I will talk about so the platforms that people are using continue to be exclusively Facebook. I mentioned it yesterday at our dinner yesterday. So Facebook is basically the internet in Myanmar. So if you want to find your an apartment, you go on Facebook. If you want to find a shop to fix your shoes, you go on Facebook. If you want to order cosmetics online, you go on Facebook. So it's very still the political discussions are still very Facebook centric, not even Instagram, but because even despite the VPN, the internet restrictions on Facebook, people are using VPN to access Facebook. So the young generation still use Facebook, but at the same time, they don't want to VPNs make it the experience much slower. So other platforms are I wanted to give a scale of how big Facebook is. So our audience on Facebook is 50 million followers, and so like now people are starting to use YouTube. Before, because of VPN. Before, for example, our audience on Facebook, YouTube was just 300,000. Now it grew to like 1 million in like 2 years. So I'm just showing that people are trying to move to different platforms, like just to avoid the VPN, to be honest. So TikTok is becoming, people are watching TikTok. Before, for my parents' generation, they're like, TikTok, oh, that's where people go dance, right? But now it's starting to become a source of news, snippets, you know. So, and then entertainment, people are going to watch pirated series on TikTok. So, yeah, TikTok is also becoming a big player.
But can people use TikTok freely in Burma, or is it under censorship?
It's not under VPN. It's not under VPN. Maybe Twitter is under VPN. I think Twitter is under VPN. Facebook is under VPN. YouTube is not. So I think a lot of people without VPN, they use Telegram, Viber, and TikTok.
Yeah. Interesting, because I have my program every night, and when we present any news about Myanmar, we tend to draw so much audience from Myanmar via Facebook, not YouTube. Thank you. What about Laos and Cambodia?
I think the platform that starting to be popular at the moment, and I think it's TikTok and YouTube. Of course, YouTube can reach more people, can reach a large group of people. So TikTok is popular at the moment. Is popular for young people. So I think TikTok is going to be like very popular in the future. And Facebook, people still debate all topic they debate, or even connect with friends, family, and also debate other thing. Basically, Facebook is a source of information, not just for people, normal people, but also for media as well. We use Facebook. What happening in Laos, you go to Facebook, immediately. And sometimes journalists use it to further investigate and write story. So it's timely, It's instead of we use it not only to provide information, but also to know what's happening also. Yeah.
Cambodia, Rangsi.
Yes, I think we share similarity. We've been using Facebook, and then they moving on to TikTok because of I think it's more entertainment on TikTok. Facebook is become more commercial, and despite that, the fake news. So people really go to Facebook for search for news like hot news, but it's not for update or for detail or for like the actual news. Then they would just consume there, and then they moving forward to the reliable source one. So, but basically, majority of the population in Cambodia is it's young generation. So they moving fast to TikTok, and I think it's all of this social media is have different segment, where we can say if you go for a chat, if you go for a specific group, then they create a group chat on Telegram, on if you have a lot of network, then you of Chinese network, then you use WeChat, and if you are more like privacy, then you use Signal. So it's quite broad as what we have on social medias. However, if we said where's the young people are moving towards to, is TikTok for this coming few years.
Thank you, our three speakers, for this very important session of content strategy and development of content presentation. We can see the direction clearly that all the media content have to move online, especially via Facebook and TikTok is coming. But from Renzi say, probably there will be lots of specific section within each media platform, each online platform, that each organization will have to try to have access to and reach out to different groups of audience. So thank you very much. Please give big hands to our three speakers. Thank you very much. So let's have a short break for 15 minutes, and we will come back for second session at 10 past 11. of how online media in the region, especially in Southeast Asia, to redesign the business model to attract more audience and especially more income to sustain the business in short term and long term. In this panel discussion, we have representatives from Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam. And our first speaker is Do Minh Tu, Executive Vietnam Plus Online News from Vietnam. And the second one is Rauset Santindao Adele, online writer, editor of Philstar.com from the Philippines. And the third one is Ajek Rosa, Director of Katadata Insight Center, Indonesia. So let me begin with Do Minh Tu. Please share with us how your organization is working right now and how you draw revenue to sustain and what's your business model. Please.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Son P, for having me here, that I have a chance to share about what we are doing in Vietnam. I'm so eager to attend this event because it's a precious chance for me to understand other news agency in the region work, and I expect that I can understand more and learn your experience, because we are struggling for survival, as we said at the beginning. In Vietnam, the news media agencies are also faced with many obstacles. So now I will start my presentation. So we are Vietnam Plus. It is an online newspaper under the Vietnam News Agency. It is a national foreign affairs newspaper, but we go online. We are in now this year we mark the 15 years anniversary. We are in 6 languages. We are the official online newspaper, and we have many awards of the state and the government. We have a big potential and advantages because we have 30 overseas bureaus in territories and countries in the world. We also present in all provinces and cities in Vietnam. This is our founder. We also receive prestigious international journalism awards and National Journalism Award. We have a diverse ecosystem. As you can see that we are available on top news reading platforms, and Vietnam Plus is the first online newspaper available on reading platforms in the country. I will tell more about the business model of Vietnam Plus later, but it is we are available on YouTube and podcast. That's one among the way we earn money. This is the e-magazine. Now we are developing the mega story. That's a long form story, because we are the online newspaper. We focus on the in-depth story, like my colleagues from the Vientiane Times said. We also focus on in-depth story, so that's why we invest much on mega story form. This is our Rap News Plus. Have you ever heard about the way people reading news through rap? Yeah. So actually, you know that the Vietnam Plus was founded in 2008. We entered the online journalism quite late in comparison with other online newspapers. So how we can compete to be able to develop? So the answers were the top official information copyrighted content, and we have to be creative to compete with other online news agency. So every year we we launch new things, and Rap News Plus is one among them. We cooperate with influencers, with the famous band and rappers in the Vietnamese music industry. They help us develop the news, the news into the rap song. So that's why we can go viral on YouTube and social networks. Our Rap News Plus also received an award from One IFRA. Regarding the innovation now, we just focus on the content production stage. That means the entire content staff become the digital journalists. I think this is not new for the journalism, the press in your country, but may I share that 80% of our journalists can work can use camera, use the tool to handle complex and sophisticated contents. At the editing stage and publishing stage, we also use the AI technology to save the human resource, because we on Vietnam Plus is also under the Vietnam News Agency. Vietnam News Agency is a big one. We have with the 3,000 journalists, but Vietnam Plus, we are online newspaper with only 50 journalists, but we have a network of correspondents around the world. Regarding the business models, we apply technology to collect and analyze reader behavior. My colleague, Mr. Somsek, said that the Vientiane Times focused on the target audience to develop the story. I totally agree with him. But how to find the target audience? We use AI to find the target audience. That means when the readers visit our website, our AI and chatbot can identify what they focus on and what kind of information that they feel interesting. So in the next time they visit our website, we can give the suggestion that the suitable news that we think that would be suitable for the readers. So that's the way we operate our website. Apart from the news service, we host the events. We cooperate with other business to host the events. We also call readers and government to fund for the high quality content. Then we cooperate with technology vendors. Let me tell more about the technology vendors. We focus on the data journalism. For example, we invest on the in-depth content with many data that we can access from the government office. So that's why we can sell that data for anyone needed, researchers, students, for example. Last but not least, we are researching a new way that people can to attract readers to our online newspaper. That is how to earn money after reading. That means when the readers read more, they can earn some points. That in the future the points can be transferred into money or something. It is just an experiment. Of course, that it sounds attractive that people can read more, but there is, but it's maybe because that people don't really read the story. They can use a robot or some way to cheat to access our website, but they don't really read. So at that point, the content can lose its value. So it is a new way. We still research about it. We have many things to do, and we are some planned. But in Vietnam, we are facing with some obstacle due to the press law or mechanism and policy of the state that we, for example, the revenues granted by the agency in charge of the press is limited because we can. We still focus on the content because we are a news agency that under the government, but we still have to pay the tax like other media company. So that's why we the news media we are discussing to submit to the government to change the law or something. Our core purpose is an official news media agency, so we still focus on the in-depth story and copyrighted content, no matter how we innovate it. So that's all we're looking for. I am looking for the comments and questions by you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Do Minh Tu, for sharing with us how Vietnam Plus has been born out of Vietnam News Agency. I'm just wondering, can you tell us more about the format or how Vietnam News Agency generate income? Because you operate under the government. Does it mean you get funding from the government? And Vietnam Plus was born in 2008. So it's about 15 years ago. So it's quite soon that you originate or you have online news for Vietnam Plus, for Vietnam News Agency. So what's the current state of Vietnam Plus? And can you share with us, in the beginning, how did you recruit journalists to join Vietnam Plus? Do they come from Vietnam News Agency or you totally recruit new team? Because you told us that you have 50 journalists at the moment. It's not too small, not too big. Tell us more about how you recruit this news team.
So thank you for the question. Firstly, about our team. Let me make it clear that we have the 50 full-time journalists, but we have a network of correspondents and journalists around the world and throughout the city. They are the staff of the Vietnam News Agency. It is the mother agency of the Vietnam Plus. At the beginning, Vietnam Plus is recognized by one IFRA as one among 5 smallest media office in the world, but creative in the world. We are so small. At the beginning, we can't afford to hire the experienced or famous writers. We just start with the young ones, but creative ones. So after 15 years, we grow. We earn more experience. I can say that all the journalists starting the career with Vietnam Plus, they are the journalists with passion. They are passionate in writing, in journalism. That's how we work. And regarding your question about the revenue, Vietnam Plus is also the first online newspaper that asks people have to pay the fee to understand, to read the high quality content. We have the high quality content, the exclusive stories that are attractive and necessary for the researchers, for students. So that's why we earn money from the beginning. We also funded by the state, the government, and the Vietnam News Agency, because we are the online newspaper in 6 languages. That means the biggest news media for foreign affairs. Yeah, we are the we have a budget for foreign affairs stories. Recently, we also host the events, as I mentioned before. So that's our business models.
So where's the main source of income of Vietnam Plus?
The main is from the budget of the state and the subscription of the readers, because we are pay people pay to read our content.
And with Rap News Plus,
Yes.
seems very creative. Just wondering whether it's daily news coverage in Rap News?
It's not a daily news. It is like the weekly news that we collect. We collect the most interesting, the trending on the social networks that people concerned about to produce the Rap News Plus. It takes time for the rappers to write the lyrics, to add music and perform. So it takes time.
Does it help you expand to reach younger audience because of this Rap News Plus?
That exactly. Just as I said, that due to the booming of the social network, we must be innovative, and Rap News Plus is one among our creations. We also have the game news that people can. It requires the readers must have a knowledge, and they are aware of what happening in the society. For example, we produce a game news regarding the missing of the MH370 flight. There are a poll that asks the readers that about information and news regarding the flight. So people it's like playing the quiz on our website.
I see lots of creative idea coming out of Vietnam Plus. Thank you very much for sharing with us.
It is just attract the readers and increase the interaction with our audience. It is not for money. The Rap News Plus or the news game, they're not for money.
Okay, thank you for now. Now let me move on to our second speaker for this round. Rauset Adele, online writer and editor of Philstar.com from the Philippines. Please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm thankful to be part of this panel and share this important conversation. So today I will discuss the situation of online media in the Philippines and their business models. So first, I'd like to introduce the news outlet I'm representing, Philstar.com. Like 11 Media, we were also launched in the year 2000, but initially only as an online edition of the national broadsheet, the Philippine Star. It is owned and operated by digital company Philstar Global, which is under the Star Group of Publications with the flagship, the broadsheet, the Philippine Star. Over the years, however, we developed our own editorial team and our content. So now, alongside our own journalism, we host the content of the Philippine Star, tabloid that is written in Filipino Star ngayon. There is also one in Cebuano. It's a language in the middle of the Philippines. And there are other 2 tabloids called Pangmasa and Banat. So those are our brands that we don't run them. They have separate editorial teams, but their content can be seen on our website. So because we have developed our own editorial content, we are now recognized as one of the digital brands in journalism. So we are a top destination for broad range of content, be it in political, social, sports, entertainment, lifestyle. And we are known for our credible breaking news and contextual real-time coverage, in-depth explanatory reports, and engaging storytelling that help the public make informed decisions. So currently we have 50 million reach globally because Filipino migrants are spread out globally. So yeah. And I'd like to introduce another news outlet Philstar Global Corporation acquired in March 2018. It is called Interaction. So it is a former news website of a television network called TV5. So it's also among the top 3 TV networks in the Philippines. So it rebranded and now produces features and analysis on social issues and current events from the perspective of social media. So we reframe online conversations and contextualize them through our reports. Given this, however, our current business model is still 100% dependent on advertising. We, however, have platform-based monetization through our YouTube videos, Facebook videos. That's it so far for our social media monetized content. To give you a perspective of how of the look of Philippine online media in the the online media in the Philippines, I categorize them into 4. So there are the legacy media. These are TV networks, radio station, newspapers that have their own online counterparts. There are also independent media which are not affiliated with any conglomerate businesses. An example is Rappler. You might be familiar with it. And then there are magazines that shut down their operations and are now running online. And lastly, the smaller ones are the alternative media regional, which are more community-based. And there are also startups that emerge to cater to the respective niche. For example, they are lifestyle-oriented, tech-oriented. Some blogs are also dominating the online sphere in the Philippines. So, given our diverse digital offerings, here are the challenges we are facing. I think some of you may also relate to this. So, the smaller media outfits especially struggle with digital transformation. During the pandemic, hundreds of smaller outfits in the Philippines have shut down. These are the ones that rely heavily on print. So there's also prevailing misinformation, disinformation, as earlier mentioned. And we also compete against social media and influencers because the players are very much existing to master algorithms and consumer taste. So how can we compete with that expertise? I also place here a challenge of having Gen Zs. Earlier, it was explained that they are moving to different platforms like TikTok. So they're changing consumer behavior is also a challenge for us because they are hard to please and they have different preference. But we see that as an opportunity, not just a challenge. There are also death of cookies and tracking that it makes programmatic ads less valuable. In the Philippines, unlike in Malaysia, Ting mentioned that they are the pioneer in subscription models. But in the Philippines, we are not yet very much into subscription models that you pay for premium content. So it's hard for us to adjust to that, given that they are not yet willing to pay. We also experience security issues. So the infrastructure of our website are being attacked with flooding of traffic, and then our website will become inaccessible to our readers. I'm not sure if that's the same case in other Southeast Asian nations. And then lastly, the AI threats. So there's a threat of AI being more intelligent than us and replacing us in the future. These are just mere fears for now, but of course we'd like to get ahead, so I listed it down as one of the challenges. So our initiatives to address the said challenges, for us, while we also cater to in-depth reports, we also transform some of our reports into the shorter ones. Sometimes they are bulleted so that not to dumb down the quality of our reports, but just to make it more comprehensible to readers given the lower attention span. And then we also have live products, live stream, live blogs. And while I said that we are competing with social media, we are still also leveraging it and maximizing the use of it by adapting to their formats. We produce reels and others. For us also, visualization is king, so we incorporate compelling photos, videos in our reports to reach more audience and attract more readers. And the last I'd like to mention is going where the audience is. In the Philippines, there are many emerging platforms, not just TikTok. I don't know if you're familiar with Kumu. There's Kumu, that's a live entertainment app where people are singing and performing live, and then they give stars and all that. So we are looking in and monitoring this kind of platform so that in case that it becomes source of news, we will be there, because, you know, it's volatile given the Twitter, Elon Musk changes. We have to adapt to these changes. In summary, these are the present and future steps we should pursue to be able to deter the challenges I've mentioned earlier. So, because we are competing with content creator and influencers, we have to continue to maintain our integrity as watchdogs. How? By ramping up our media literacy efforts. For example, we inform the public of the journalism ethics we're following and how we are different from content creators and influencers. And just inform them of the process so that they will also know that journalism is not just for the money, but a public service that we give that we pursue our mission to be their voice. And then we also recommend the continued fact-checking initiatives because of the prevalence of disinformation. We are very much involved in such fact-checking initiatives, as well as diversifying content. I said earlier that we create videos, and also we are into podcasts, among others. And while I said that the social media influencers are competition, we should also collaborate, like what Vietnam Online News is doing. They are collaborating with famous personalities to reach more audience because they know their algorithm well, and because they know that we can also take advantage of that knowledge and team up with them so that we could reach their audience as well. That's it for my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Adele, for sharing with us your business strategy and how you have to adapt to this online ecosystem. You told us that you rely on 100% on advertising. Mm-hmm. So how has your content has to be changed in order to cope with online marketing strategy?
we just like again diversify our content, and we're also looking into in the future mount conferences like this to also promote our brand and diversify our stream of revenues in the future, because it's mainly like advertorials for now. We just abide by our clients as well.
And currently, your main source of income, is it from YouTube and Facebook?
No, the advertisement part is the main source of income, but a supplement, the Facebook and YouTube.
And how do you cope with AI threats? Because you said you have to integrate with AI, of course, but how do you cope with challenges of AI replacing current staff? Is it happening right now, and what's your strategy?
No, it's not yet happening now. It's just merely a fear of our staff as well. They are voicing it out. But then again, we are looking into ways on how we can integrate the AI into our workflow. For example, we could lessen our workload by using the AI ChatGPT to do research and also transcribe in those ways for now.
So mainly with ChatGPT, do you solely use it, or you have particular application of ChatGPT for your organization?
There's no definite app for everyone now. There's no definite prescribed app for our company right now, but we are eyeing to have one. I think related to Microsoft.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the case from the Philippines. So let's listen to our last speaker for this discussion. Director of Kata Data Insight Center of Indonesia, Mr. Adek Rosa, please.
Thanks, Naka. Thank you so much. So, it's good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thanks again to Sonpi for bringing me here to share my story. Stories from Kata Data, and also, of course, I learned a lot from all the speakers here. Very good experience. You share a very good story from your country. So before starting with my presentation, I will explain a little bit about media landscape in Indonesia. So in Indonesia, in terms of freedom, media is totally freedom at the moment. We're free to create any news, to criticize the government, to criticize the army, the military, the police, anything to do with the government, that we're free. So we had problem with journalism. With the freedom of journalism during the Suharto era. That was more than 25 years ago. But after that, media has been developed, and then our challenge, our threat was the owner. Media ownership become a problem, because many media owners, they're also politicians. They want to be elected as member of parliament or president or minister or etc. But in the last 5 years, or maybe in the last 7 years, the threat to journalism in Indonesia is financial. So it's not longer the government, it's not the owner, but how to get money to fund journalism, to finance investigative stories, to create a quality journalism, and etc. So I remember there was one question from Mr. Tepchai to Mr. Mintau. Mr. Tepchai asked, "What is your long-term plan?" So I believe that there's no long-term plan for media everywhere, including in Indonesia. Our plan is to survive next month, next year, and that's the best thing we can do. in this situation. So when I received this invitation, media survival, this is very relevant, and I'm really interested to this topic. About Katadata, this is the organization I work for. Katadata was established in 2012. So the idea of Katadata is to provide credible information based on data. Why based on data? Because many information, many news stories out there in Indonesia, they just written based on oral information. I mean, just interview someone, you just quote everyone, but then it creates confusion in the public, because everyone can speak whatever they want, especially the politician, member of parliament, government. So we came out with this initiative to create a news outlet that based on data. So Katadata itself is derived from kata mean words, and data mean data. So the news is based on data. Of course, we still quote the officials, politician, but when we quote the officials, the politician, we always provide data either to support the quote or to contradict the quote. Of course, we believe that crowd is important, audience is important, but again, quality is our priority. So that's why we apply data journalism. We have in-depth reports, we have special reports, we have long interviews, we have a section called data check. This is a story to check data, and video explainer to explain something, any issue that happening in the public at that time. And of course, no clickbait. This is our formula. So these two pictures, two images are, we call it infographic, part of data journalism. So we try to simplify issue to explain it to the public. And this type of product is the most popular in our news outlet. So I think you all can understand that with applying data journalism, long-form stories, data checking, it's not really interesting for the public. So that's why in terms of rank, we only, in Indonesia, for news media outlets, Katadata ranks 23. Our share of traffic is only less than 1%. So the visitor is only 9 million visitors per month. Yet, with that situation, we try to make impact. So we believe that quality is the king, and when we produce journalism with high quality, we believe we can make impact to the society. So this is some testimonies from leading figures in Indonesia regarding our news outlet, Katadata. So from the president, economists, industry players, and other people. And of course, we cannot sell the news. Even in the past, when we have newspaper, when we had newspaper, like 40 years ago maybe, we didn't sell the news. We sell the platform, the paper. So advertising, advertiser can put their ad on the paper. So what happened now? the reality is quality journalism needs a lot of money. And then, again, even though it creates impact, but still quality journalism does not attract a significant audience. And again, it is not interesting for advertisers. And then therefore, news outlets has to be creative to create revenue streams outside the journalistic field, but still relevant to journalism. And that's why Katadata utilize the strength of its contents and impact to create a revenue stream. Of course, there's still a firewall that's separating editorial and the business. So this is the organization of Katadata to answer the problem. So there's media, Katadata Media Network, that has to do with journalistic thing, create stories, interview, or anything. And then the channel for the story is katadata.co.id. That's our main website. And then we have the Insight. The Insight is, what is it? Like paid website. So this is our premium news story. Some gossip also there, but it's political gossip. This is the Insight. People have to pay for access the information in the Insight. And we have Ziggy for younger people, younger generation. And we have Trend Auto is focused on automotive. And Katadata Perempuan. Perempuan is woman. So it's discuss about issues related to women. So this is the media. They're free to do whatever they want, and they don't have obligation to gain revenue. But so where is the revenue come from? The revenue come from Katadata Insight Center and also CC Plus. But of course, there's still revenue from Katadata Media Network if advertisers want to put their ad on the website or something else. But we created Katadata Insight Center. This unit provide research and data analytics services. We do research, we do survey, we have data box. Data box is a website that consists of data that people can access the website to get data for whatever they want, for academic, for business, for policy making. And then we develop our panel survey. This Curious is our panel survey to support the research. And then CC Plus is event management. So what we do normally, if a company approaches Katadata to do a survey, to do a research, then we will do the research, and from the research we will create a material for publication, for campaign, and then we will organize the event for the company. So it's like one-stop services. Yeah. So this is again, this is Katadata Insight Center. What we do that data collection, primary data collection by survey, interview. We collect secondary data, analysis, data presentation, and dissemination. And then this is the output of Katadata Insight Center. So many output we have in industry outlook, policy review, white paper, etc. And this is the portfolio of our research in Katadata Insight Center. We do a lot of research. I mean, we do research in many sectors. Of course, it doesn't mean that we have all the expertise in this field. But because our background is journalism, we have good relationship with universities, with research institution, with the government, so it's easy for us to hire them to involve in our research. This is CC Plus. CC Plus is the other business unit that focus on event. So we do a lot of things related to event, hybrid, offline, virtual event. We also provide training, not only journalistic training, but for example, if one company, let's say this company operating, let's say the electric vehicle company. So the electric vehicle company, they want journalists in the country understand what is electric vehicles, what is the ecosystem of electric vehicle. So they approach Katadata, and Katadata will, CC Plus from Katadata will organize event to invite journalists for a class, for a session, to explain what is electric vehicle, and we invite speakers from relevant sectors. We invite the expert speakers from the industry, from the government, and etc. So this is during the COVID what CC Plus have done. From April 2020 until October 21, we had 452 online events. So the good thing about our organization, because the number of people is small, it's easy for us to be agile, to switch from one type of event to another type. So in Indonesia, we was the first company that switched from offline to online immediately after the pandemic. This is a summary. So as we all believe here, the role of journalism is more important in this digital era. And then, but competing for larger viewers needs more money, and this could have bad impact on the content. So if you want to have more audience, you need to do yellow journalism maybe. You have to use clickbait, but we will not do that. So that's why we cannot reach a larger audience. So in terms of quality journalism, it is still attracting a big audience. I mean, it is hard to attract a bigger audience, but still we can make impact. The impact is we can prove the impact by engagement of the people, how the people discuss our work, how the government respond to our work. For example, it's very often that our journalists get called by the president, by the minister, because of our news story. So that is the impact. And to support that quality journalism, we need to create new revenue streams that maybe not in media sectors, but still related to journalism. And of course, it is important to be agile and have business models that support journalism. So I always say to my journalist colleagues that as a journalist, of course, we have to be idealists, but sometimes there is a time you need to be compromised. You need to compromise. Why? Maybe you have this big idealism. When you compromise, you only have this one, this big, smaller. But without compromising, when you die, you have nothing. At least you still have something to fight for, even though not as big as you want. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosa, for sharing with us. It's very interesting how you transform and and shift the business. The main business of Kata Data is in word and research, but you have transformed from media into event, into research and development unit as well. Can you share with us more into details how many staff you have at Kata Data and what's the section? How do you separate or classify staff in each section, and how do you draw revenue in each particular section? What's the proportion? What's the proportion of revenue in each particular section?
Thank you. So at the moment we have about 200 people in Kata Data, about 100 people in Kata Data Media Network, 35 people in Kata Data Insight Center, and 40 people in CC Plus. So when talking about revenue, it is, of course, the Kata Data Media Network, they still have the highest revenue, but what make me happy, what make us happy in Kata Data is the revenue from the research, survey, and event has grown significantly in the last 3 years. So if we combine revenue from Kata Data Insight Center and from CC Plus, it is about 70% of the total revenue. And we expect, so even though there's also pressure for Kata Data Media Network to make revenue, but I hope that we can maintain this proportion, revenue proportion, so we can still support quality journalism in our company.
So it means revenue from research and analysis and event
Yep.
cover journalists.
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
I just want to add something that is also interesting. So we start as a media company. We are in the media industry sectors, but then we have unit business in survey, research, and also event. So this create another confusion for us also. Not confusion, but a good problem actually. The problem is we have to compete with other company that already exists in that sector. We compete in terms of what? In terms of hiring people. So I don't know what about in other country, but in Indonesia, roughly, I mean, salary of journalists is considered lower than expert, like a professor, like economist. But because we create Kata Data Insight Center, we need to recruit that expert. So that's create confusion inside the organization. How we pay this, how we trade this. So if we pay these people more, so journalists will not be happy. So we have to maintain this balance, So that's, I think that's one thing that we're still working on it to, I hope there's a solution on that.
Thank you. That's very interesting. I think other media organization is also facing as well, because we have to transform to do many things on top of being media outlet. And you also mentioned that you have 452 events online. How do you generate income out of that? And do you rely on expertise of journalists in being moderator of the event, or can you share with us what's the pattern of generate income out of online event?
So as I mentioned before that we have content that is very strong content that can make a good impact, can make impact to the public. So we use this as our strength to create event. So when we prepare the terms of reference, the content is very strong, very interesting, and the speaker is the speaker that has authority to speak on that event. And how we get that kind of speaker, because we were journalists, we have a good connection. We can ask minister to be one of our panel. We can ask famous businessmen to speak in our event. So we can sell this event, the ticket. I mean, if you want to attend this, if you want to watch this event, buy the ticket. And also later, a lot of companies, they want to have their own event. For example, I will in Indonesia, there's so many banks. One of the banks is say that Permata Bank or maybe Bangkok Bank in Bangkok Bank in Thailand. So this bank, they want to have a flagship event, Permata Bank Economic Forum. So we work on it. We prepare all the terms of reference, talking point. We prepare the flow of the discussion. We manage the speakers, and not only the event itself, but also the campaign of the event. So after the event, we write the press release. We distribute the press release to other media. So this all like a big service. So company, if they want to have their own event, just come to Katadata, and Katadata will provide everything from preparing to dissemination.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let me open up the floor. If you have any further questions or any view that you'd like to share, คุณกนกพรค่ะ คุณต่ายเชิญค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ กนกพร ประสิทธิ์ผล from Thai PBS. I am Digital Media Director. My question for Rose, right? Philippines, that I see your presentation in challenges, the first slide, and the digital transformation. I think this is a very important things. I welcome the idea from Vietnam and Indonesia as well for the digital transformation in your organization. Beside the service and product in news, your organization do you have any changing internal your organization, such as the budget allocation, restructure organization, or upskill, reskill for the staff? Do you have any policy or any action plan for drive the digital transformation in your media organization? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So since we're already digital when we started, our transition is not that hard, but since our staff are mostly young, we encourage them to join trainings, and we don't have specific policies on upskilling, but that is very highly encouraged for them to participate in trainings like mobile journalism and all that. Thank you.
What about Vietnam and Indonesia? Upskill, retrain of your staff to cope with changing technology?
Well, may I share the situation in Vietnam? We cooperate with the Vietnam Journalists Association to provide a training course to journalists, photographers, especially the skill to develop the news or produce the video news on the mobile phone. We all have to learn. And of course, the training course to that provide the soft skills for reporters. For example, how to report about corruption, enter to the dangerous zone. For example, some organization and enterprise that harm the environment during their operation. So the reporters have to learn to equip for themselves the soft skill to go to that hot points, that how we say it. Yeah, thank you.
Adek, probably you can share with us also, do you have to restructure the whole organization to cope with different kind of extra work that you are diversifying?
Yeah, of course, the organization, the structure that I show you reflect that. So maybe next year it will change. So we need to be agile. We always mention that in our meeting in the office that there's none of fixed organization. Everything can be changed based on the challenge that we have. So back to the question that in terms of how to keep the journalists updated with to face the challenges at the moment, we invest a lot in journalistic training. So we have weekly and we have monthly evaluation. We hire senior journalists only to evaluate our journalistic works. And me, I was journalist. I'm still involved in journalistic training in the office. And we have a discussion, WhatsApp discussion, only to focus on the quality of journalism. So if, for example, if I found one article that is not written appropriately, I will contact the editor to fix it. So it's like what is it? Continuous thing. So we always do that every week, every month, and apart from that, we also support our journalists to get training overseas or local, and not only training but also support journalists to do study. Higher study. For example, I obtained my PhD thanks to Katadata that support me to do that.
I suppose you must be facing tough challenges because you graduate PhD in digital media and you have to use your knowledge to adapt to the old ecosystem and the existing environment, which must be quite challenging for you. Do you have to lay off some staff, and do you face resistance among more senior journalists or senior employees? Because I presume that you have to change a lot inside the newsroom and for the whole organization.
So Katadata was established 11 years ago. When we established Katadata, we understand that we cannot work as the old way. So this is new media. We need to think digitally, and then we need to be able to adapt with the situation. So in terms of that, all the people in the organization, they understand, they realize the challenges. So there's no, let's say that the old journalists, they oppose the changes in Katadata, change in Katadata. That's not happened. I think, sorry, what was the question again?
Resistance and layoff. Do you have to lay off?
Yeah. The layoff, of course, pressure from the shareholder is there. You need, so this is just few months ago. I got information from the shareholder meeting, and they said, look at other media outlets. They have done the layoff. Look at startup. They also do the layoff. What about you? When will you do this? And I say, we'll not do that at the moment. We will not do that in the near future. So just give us some time to improve, to get more revenue. So this revenue can answer the need of the organization. So that's why me in Katadata Insight Center, in my colleague in CC Plus, we work hard, and also Katadata Media Network also, they work hard to get revenue, to avoid that layoff, because it is very tough to tell your staff that you have to go.
Of course, it's very, very difficult to face that challenges, and I'm sure every media organization is facing the same challenges of converging between the more senior generation and the young one. But so what's your view for long-term growth of the three countries, Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam, because you have to sustain in the changing world in the near future? Of course, you said you have to think day by day. You cannot plan for too long. But with challenge of AI, ChatGPT is coming. That means that it will affect human resources currently working, your workforce at the moment. Do you have any idea or any solution, or what do you think about AI at the moment? And how do you plan to integrate it with your business model? Have you got any idea yet?
So if I have the question, maybe Katadata is already a big company. But what I'm trying to say is, in terms of AI, we believe that we still need human in creating news. So AI or engine, they just create news, but there's no spirit in the news. Maybe they can do the analytic. Maybe they can provide a lot of data. But with human involved in the news creation, you have different point of view, and then you can have more. Human touch is very important in the story. And I don't know what to say anymore. This is the challenge that we face, and I don't have the answer at the moment.
Thank you. Of course, it's still human touch that sells, really. And I think it depends on how the news will transform a bit in using AI, but maintain human value. That's very crucial. What about you? Do you have any idea to suggest?
Like I said earlier, it's just that we leverage the AI. Using it to our advantage. We use that to aid our reports, but still maintain the human touch. Because AI has no emotions and all that, and Filipinos do love emotional stories. It will still be needed in the future. Maybe the full-blown interference of AI is not anytime soon for now. Maybe it's gonna take decades. If I will bravely forecast. But what we can do now is just still work together and continue to bring that human value that he also cited.
Domain 2, Vietnam.
So when the AI and Chat GPT engine appears in Vietnam, people flock to that program to ask it how to write a news, how to write a poem for flirting someone, for example, write an advertisement, and the Chat GPT can work well. People question that. So maybe we don't need reporters, journalists, even writers, poets, but actually we try. We asked the ChatGPT to write a news, and actually it can take how to say 1 minute to deliver the news, but but it takes from me 1 hour to edit it from spelling, grammar, and fact check. So actually, I think AI is innovation. We can use AI to collect the data of the readers to identify what our readers, our audience, interested in. That's how we use. And for the news regarding how many cases of COVID-19 appear every day in Vietnam before, we use AI to write that news because it's on the statistics. We can collect the statistics and ask AI to do the news for us. Another example, before we can, it takes half a day to design an infographic, but now with the data statistic we put into the program, we can have the infographic for just several minutes. So it's very quick and convenient. But I think the AI can replace the human, the editors and writers. Still very important to check how the AI work.
Yeah, I think to some extent, maybe AI can replace human, but still, as she said that maybe we can get a lot of information from AI, but we need to verify that information. So verification is more important now. So journalists has to verify information, and also about investigative journalism. I don't think in the near future AI can do investigative journalism, because finding specific information that is not online is still a human. Still, people have to do that. Journalists has to do that. Not only in country that where internet is still low, internet penetration is low, but also in everywhere that specific information that can lead us to covering corruption or scandal. They don't. We cannot get that information from the internet. So still, we have to use old way as a journalist to collect that kind of information.
My last point to you, Adek, is because you generate income from research, from data analytics, from your research insight. How do you combine skill of journalists with that data analysis unit to generate income?
So what we do, we don't convert journalists become a researcher. So we create this new business unit, and then we hire people that can do the research. So if you check our website, for example, we have to add our credibility, we put all the researchers on the website and their background. So they are economists, they are statisticians, data engineers, and people who are expert in survey, and also mathematicians. So that's all we have in Kata Data Insight Center as business unit that focus on research. The only journalist in that section, in that unit, is me. I was journalist, no longer journalist, but so the idea that they put me in this unit is to make sure that the output of the research is still related to journalism, to support communication. But most of the experts, they were not, and they are not journalists. And I don't even understand what is statistic, what is economy, econometric, etc. But at least I understand the logic of the research, so I can manage the team.
So probably that can be the upskill of journalists in the future to read data, interpret, and develop into stories.
Yes, of course. That is very important now. I cannot imagine if I start my career as journalistic at the moment as journalist. So you need to be able to use the camera. You need to be able to speak in front of the camera, and then you need to understand that million row of Excel with data. I think journalists right now is so, so perfect, so good. While in my era, I just need to write. That's all what I did. But maybe every generation, they have their own challenge, and they have to be better than previous generation.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the discussion round 2 of business model, business strategy, which of course content cannot lack business model to carry on, especially finance is really important to sustain the media business in the long term. And obviously we can see how media members have to upskill all the time. We cannot stand still, especially when we see evolution of social media, blossoming of AI, ChatGPT. On the one hand, it can kill the number of journalists, but on the other hand, journalists have to improve the skill to cope with fast-paced changes. Thank you for our friends, our fellows from Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Philippines, Laos, and Cambodia to share your experience, your view, your direct experience in coping with changing world. And I hope we will find way to survive and thrive in this disruption. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณค่ะ And let's have lunch break for an hour and come back probably at 1:40. 1:30. I'm sorry that we have to push over, so you have about 50